As we embark on another enriching episode of Revive the Culture Connect, our mission to bridge the gap between generations takes us to the heart of our culinary heritage. In this episode today, I am joined by a special guest who shares our passion for preserving cultural diversity. Together, we'll dive into the culinary landscape and strive to revive the age old favorites, Jowar, Bajra, and Ragi, and bring them back to our plate. Let's explore not just the cultural significance of these traditional grains, but also unfold the science behind why it is more beneficial to consume millets. Please join me in welcoming our guest for the day, Ms. Usha Dharmanand. Usha ji is currently based out of Bangalore, is a consultant nutritionist working independently. She holds a master degree in dietetics and food services management and is a member of Indian Dietetic Association. She has worked as a nutritionist in Rainbow Children Hospital, Marathalli, and as a consultant nutritionist in Vikram Hospital, which is now Manipal Hospital, Millers Road. Welcome on board, Usha ji. Thank you so much for your time. Please tell us, how do you feel about this series, Revive the Culture Connect?
Thanks, Jyotica, for having me on your, the Revive the Connect program. It's so wonderful that you're doing, how the younger generation can use our traditional knowledge. We have to bridge the gap so that there is a continuity in it.
Absolutely.
So
thank you so much.
I'm very happy, and I would like to talk to you about millets as a nutritionist. It has both the cultural, the traditional, and the present day concerns can be, I think, matched only with a super grain, what you call it as millets. So I would like to talk to you about it.
We are all keen to listen. However, the first question that comes to my mind is we all have seen wheat as a dominant grain on our plates, particularly in the north, with rice being in the south. So, could you tell us a little bit about, how this dominance came to wheat? Because what I came to know very recently, surprisingly, that wheat is not a native of the Indian subcontinent. So, please elaborate on that, please.
Okay. Yes, very true. See, wheat and rice have become the major grains now, and we are surprised that there are 9 types of millets in India. You will be also surprised about that, being Jowar, Bajra, and Ragi the dominant ones. Okay. So why this was, see, all you can see why it's an ancient grain means it's got, names in their native languages.
Okay.
Very few grains have native language names. So in Kannada, it's called, Sajje for Bajra. Navne means foxtail millet. Same way in Hindi also you have names. You have Bajra and you have Sama, which is the little millet that is used during fasting. A lot of people use Sama for the fasting and Upvas. That is also a millet. Yeah, why you think you were using it for fasting? Because
Yes,
that's
I
an
have been
ancient
using it
practice.
and I had no clue that I am already consuming millets. That's wonderful.
Yes. So many are there, which when I, tell this, then they start recollecting, oh, is that also a millet?
I'm
Yes,
sure
very.
everybody who's listening and watching to us today, they would also come back with a lot of surprises as we continue our discussion. Please continue.
Yes, and Jowar, Jonka Dalia is most famous in Rajasthan, and it's a very popular breakfast item. So all these things, when you see, you can see how nicely and beautifully we had it. But what happened during the Green Revolution, and after the advent of the British, wheat was promoted more. They needed for the bread, and then that subsequently, rice slowly started becoming the dominant grain because of its easy, it's very easy to cook rice, rather than the millets. It takes a little more time. So maybe because of the Industrial Revolution and things like that. And wheat, of course, was promoted during the Green Revolution.
And I think what I got to know was that wheat came, made its way to India through trade routes, right?
Definitely. Yes, yes. It was never a ancient grain. So
Okay.
only maybe from 200, some say during the Mughals, some say more promotion happened during the British season. And then after that, the Green Revolution. So it was never a native grain to India.
Mm-hmm.
So millets were a native grain. So, I mean, not a native, I would say, but at least largely used grain.
Mm-hmm.
That is how we can connect to this traditional grain.
Okay.
And what there are other benefits also.
Mhm.
Do you mind? Can I tell some more?
Yeah, yeah, of course. In fact, as we, take our discussion, it is important that we understand not just the cultural aspects, but also the health benefits and, how, scientifically the health, our health gets better when we consume millets. So please go on.
So I would say that when there was a study done, I'll connect this to Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Study done in New Zealand where the Bushmen who
Mm-hmm.
were used with the particular kind of foods, because in the New Zealand also there are these native people,
Mm-hmm.
so they had to be vacated, and that land had to be used.
Mm-hmm.
So when they to displace them and gave them the present food, what they were what you call the Western diet, or the normal high carb diet,
Okay.
they all started developing diabetes and so many other things, because there was a total shift from what they were, a hunter gatherer community.
Mm-hmm.
They would run behind and all that, so animals, and hunt animals. They had to do a lot of walking. Now everything was sitting, and so when they did that, a lot of these lifestyle diseases started coming, and the nutritionist over there saw that this was coming, very suddenly, and it was a sudden onset.
Mm-hmm.
In maybe in about 5 years, majority of the population started developing this. So then all the nutritionist said was, give them small part of their land,
Okay.
let them go back, and let them go back to their dietary habits.
Okay.
And when they did that, most of their diseases went back. I
Okay.
think even for Indians, I feel largely now we are the diabetic capital of the world. The heart and other things.
Mm.
Maybe, we have switched from a traditional diet and our lifestyle pattern
Mm.
to the modern day, simple carb diet.
Mm-hmm.
So this has our millets has quite a low glycemic index. Means their
Digestion,
sugars,
it helps the
yes, yes,
digestion in that case. Yeah.
yes, they don't spike quite a lot.
Okay.
When they are consumed as whole, especially, we use the whole millet grains like the jonka dalia, bajra roti, or the bajra khichdi, what we use. When
Mm-hmm.
you use the whole or the
Whole
dalia
means
grain,
जब वो टूटा नहीं होता है, the broken, it's format.
not broken, I would say, they're not made into atta.
अच्छा,
Even broken wheat can be, at least a whole. Sometimes in very few places in South India, especially the arid region, from where I grew up, the Bellary, and where there is a lot of, though I'm a Mangalorean, where
Mm-hmm.
we don't use millets at all. I
Okay.
have come from Bellary, Karnataka, grown up there, where it's a total arid region, little like your Rajasthan, where a lot of these millets are used. If you have
Mm-hmm.
seen, it's an arid crop where a dry doesn't require much water to
Much
grow.
water.
So
Mm-hmm.
they use the whole bajra in the form of rice,
Okay.
like a rice substitute. So there the glycemic index is fantastic. I mean, it doesn't rise the blood sugar, and you
Mm.
can't eat more. You need to chew a lot because it's a hard grain. I'm
Okay.
sure if you try to make the jonka dalia and try eating that, it takes a longer while to chew them and finish them and all that. So satiety is reached quite early. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel all these things, even the whole sama when you make,
Mm.
so you will feel fuller faster. I've heard this from a lot of people when they switched from making the normal rice to the millet rice.
Okay.
In Karnataka we use navane,
Mm-hmm.
the foxtail millet. So
Okay.
that is used a lot. So when they switch, just make a switch in that rice, their sugar levels come down, and they feel satisfied quite early.
But there's
So that is,
one observation that I felt that when I mean, since I've already consumed sama without knowing that I was, that was part of the millet family, there's a lot of, requirement to consume water after that. It feels that a lot of heat is generated. Is that true, or it's
yes,
just a feeling?
yes. See,
Okay.
that is the plus point we have to use
Hmm.
because it's very high in fiber.
Hmm.
So only, the glycemic index is not high.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it would be like any other normal, low I mean, high glycemic index means when you eat that, it's like it'll become like a bread or a rice,
Hmm.
So, the moment you eat that, it will just, so whenever you consume all the millets, you need to consume more water.
Okay.
That's definitely because that's not only with millets, with any high fiber foods, we
Hmm.
need to consume a lot of water because fiber soaks up water. So it needs a lot of fire for this one to move in our intestines
This
as
is
well.
amazing information. I'm sure a lot of us did not have all the information. though millets is something जो आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा सुनाई देता है. We hear about रागी आटा से अलग-अलग चीज़ें आप बना सकते हैं. A
Yes.
lot of governments are working on encouraging the use of millets. 2023 was the millets year from United
Millet
Nations.
year of International Year
Mm.
of Millets because of its environmental concern too. Because
Yes,
just like how I
I was
told you,
coming to
it's not
that.
only cultural. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
please go
So
on.
what Yeah. So the environmental benefit is, as
Mm,
I told, is an arid crop. So just
mm,
1/5 of the water that is used for rice or
mm,
wheat cultivation, you
mm.
can use for millet
Yes,
cultivation.
wonderful.
And you don't need to use pesticides at all. Rarely, because of its dry, this one, rarely pesticides are required. Pests don't come and attack millets
It is
much
not the
because,
favorite of pests for sure, but
yes,
we need to
yes,
make
it's
it
not
our
at all.
favorite for our good.
Yes, yes, just go back to the roots
Right.
and see, and many of the intolerances what people develop also. I
So,
have
so
seen.
how is that in the ancient times? Traditionally, this was already a part of our household. Did they know about all these benefits?
Yes, I'm not sure. Maybe they knew, which it's not documented much. But sure, my grandmother, though I'm come from Udupi, the place where I grew up, Bellari, people used to say,
Mm-hmm.
no, this grain grows up in this particular season.
Mm-hmm.
So bajra is not used much during the rainy and other season. During the winter season, it is used. So
Mm-hmm.
those things are crop are grown during that time. So they use during Sankranti, the festival. Generally, they make the bajra roti,
Mm-hmm.
and that side they make it like a kadak variety. It's like a nachos. It's
Correct.
I
So,
use it
so
like
what I
I
feel
tell the
is,
patients. Yeah.
that this is called ancient wisdom. Because at that time also, people realized its benefits and started incorporating in their daily life. Of course, because we were not having so much of technology to talk about, which we have today. So they were using and they could see the benefits in their own system, the stamina and the strength they had. They did not have all those ailments which we have today. So they continue to use it. And it's just that when wheat entered our system and it became our favorite because of less time, as you've just mentioned. It takes less time to cook compared to these crops, these grains. So this is a wonderful information for all of us, and it is so meaningful now when we talk. It becomes all the more meaningful to understand, and there are so many so many areas which we did not know, like they are known by their native names. This is
Native
something,
names.
yeah,
Yes,
this
yes.
is something I feel.
That is all the languages
Mm,
have a native name,
mm,
and but nowadays, people don't know exactly how to cook those millets.
mm, mm,
And as I was coming to tell you that there are a lot of intolerances what people are experiencing towards wheat because wheat has not been the ancient wheat again.
mm,
There's a
mm.
lot of genetic modification which has happened in wheat, which was a
Okay.
haploid grain became a diploid, tetraploid, hexaploid. There is a gastroenterologist in Ames, Delhi, which conducted a test and they found out a lot of, it's called non-gluten sensitivity. it's not the celiac disease, what they say. So because of the gluten being becoming more tough in these grains,
Mm-hmm.
that leads to the elasticity actually of that grain.
Okay.
So that is being promoted by that is required for all the Western breads and all that. The more elastic it is, more
Mm-hmm.
softer it becomes.
Correct, correct, correct. So I
So
think
what
even
happened is,
talking with
a
you
lot of
has demystified a lot of things, which were so all
yeah.
this while, they were, quite a jargon for all of us to understand. I think it's been a great discussion so far. I mean, I'm just loving it, and I'm sure the viewers will also enjoy this discussion and also take benefit from here.
Yes.
There's something I want to take you back to. You mentioned that the recipes in millets is something which makes our mind think what and how to do. Is there a solution from your end for that? Let us know.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you. Thanks for letting me again go back to that. Yes. See, my mother is one inspirational woman. I would like to tell you that
Sure.
she helped me understand, how to use in millets, incorporate millets being in that. And she developed a lot of intolerances to wheat and rice itself. Though we are
Okay.
born and we started eating grains, she
Mhm.
was having a lot of acidity issues and all that.
Mhm.
And later we found out whenever she consumed wheat and rice, which was her staples,
Mhm.
she was developing all these things. The day she was consuming millets, she was
Mhm.
all right.
Okay.
So then what she did was she took a challenge and she tried to go back and ask our maids and people there living there, her very close friend also. She is from the local place, so she helped develop some recipes,
Okay.
and then she followed it for a week, and she saw immense health benefit, absolute zero of her acidity,
Mhm.
and even her back pain, which she was suffering for years, that
Okay.
came down. So then that inspired her to experiment more with millets.
Mhm.
And lo, at the age of 70, when she started her own YouTube channel,
Oh,
which is called
wonderful.
Panambri Swada, where
Mhm.
she has not along with the ancient recipes, she has done recipes for today's world as well. You
Mhm.
can have a millet nachos and all that, so
Mhm.
you can explore that for more recipes, I
Well,
would
this is,
suggest.
I mean, I would say we are blessed that we've got the wisdom, from your mother today, and we are able to have access to something like as important as this because, theek hai, we know that there is advantage of having millets vis-a-vis other grains, but how to cook. So I think
Yes.
to our viewers and listeners, I make a mention that I'm going to put the links to these to these YouTube channels on the description page of this video. So please take full advantage of what we have just been gifted by Usha ji. Thank you so much for this gift to us, Usha ji. This is not just helping us demystify something as important as millets, but also, value added with recipe booklet. So this is
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
So
Thank
is
you.
this available in English or Hindi language, or how is this?
Yes, she is explaining it in the local Kannada language,
Okay, okay.
but the subtitles are all in English.
Okay,
So the description
that's
in
again
the
a plus
description
point
in
for
the
all of
way.
us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Anybody can understand it because it's very pictorial also, so you
Right.
can understand that.
So, how wonderful. How wonderful. I'm so glad that you could spare time and be with us today on Revive the Culture Connect, where we have truly gone back and taken the ancient wisdom for the benefit of our own good. Yes, this is Revive the Culture Connect in true sense, where every episode is a step towards preserving the essence of our roots, who we are. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for this insightful conversation, Usha ji. And we have been able to see a beautiful blend of the past with the present, nurturing the love for our cultural heritage through the celebration of traditional greens. Thank you so much. To all
Thank
my
you.
viewers and listeners, you would also have the email ID of Usha ji. As you have known, she is a practitioner nutritionist. So she would be glad to answer your queries regarding nutrition and diet. And we thank you again, Usha ji. And till we come with another episode of Revive the Culture Connect, keep listening, celebrating, and reviving the roots that we are.